Hello, welcome to TEA's Federal Fiscal Compliance and Reporting Division's presentation on the ESSA fiscal requirements for Title I Part A Comparability of Services. This presentation will specifically review the reporting and documenting of enrollment data. The presentation is based on the viewer being familiar with the comparability requirement and having viewed the Title I Part A Comparability of Services Overview presentation. So let's jump right into it and begin.
This is the standard TEA disclaimer. It explains that this presentation is intended solely to provide general information and guidance to LEAs. It reflects TEA's current understanding of the applicable federal guidance, and it does not constitute legal advice.
Based on last year's validation review of LEA comparability documentation, TEA has identified some common issues which are occurring among LEAs, and we believe additional clarification is needed on these items. For the most part, LEAs are applying the Comparability Computation Form guidance correctly in regards to such items as grade span groups, high and low enrollment splits, and other items. The issues identified are not occurring within how the LEAs are conducting their testing. Rather, the issues are occurring within the data that LEAs are using in the comparability calculations. One common issue across all data is the source of the data. The fiscal requirements for the comparability requirement are federal law. Because the consequence of non-compliance with the comparability requirement is the return of all Title I Part A funds for the fiscal year, TEA collects the comparability data during the fiscal year under review. This allows for any non-compliant campuses to be brought into compliance with the requirement. LEAs are required to test for compliance using current year budget data. The term expenditures is used, but because the requirement is tested during the current year, LEAs must report budget data where applicable. Because LEAs are required to test for compliance using current year budget data, the LEA should not report the previous year's data or the current year's total expenditures to date. For example, for school year 17-18, LEAs should report the 17-18 enrollments, the 17-18 state and local budget amounts, the state and local FTEs, etc. The two most common issues when reporting enrollment numbers are the reported enrollment figures do not accurately reflect the student population, and the reported enrollment figures are not supported by auditable documentation. The reported enrollment figures must accurately reflect the student population. Each student's enrollment must be reported as outlined in TEA Student Attendance Accounting Handbook, or SAAH. For example, SAAH states students who are provided instruction for at least 2 hours, but fewer than 4 hours each school day must be reported as a 0.5 enrollment. All students, regardless of grade level, must be included in the total campus enrollment. Thus, no students should be removed from the total campus enrollment. If, however, a student is removed from the total campus enrollment, the LEA should keep complete auditable documentation as to why the student was removed on file. There is not a federal exclusion that allows an LEA to remove a student from the total enrollment. Because comparability is a federal requirement, the reported enrollment figures must be supported by auditable documentation. Official enrollment records are the only records considered auditable documentation. For example, PEIMS enrollment records are considered official records and are auditable documents. The records used to support enrollment figures in official enrollment records are considered auditable documentation if they support the official enrollment numbers. An Excel spreadsheet with the name of the campus and the enrollment at each campus is not considered auditable documentation. A data export, however, from the LEA's PEAM system into Excel with the appropriate notations is considered auditable documentation. All exported data will have notations indicating the scope of the data and the system from which it originated. These are not notations a staff member would make. They are actually part of the exported data. A suggested methodology. It is recommended that the LEA use official PEAMS records. From your PEAMS clerk, obtain the enrollment report for all campuses using the same date. Enter the enrollment for each campus as is from the PEAMS record. Do not add or remove students. If an adjustment is made, keep complete support documentation as to why an adjustment was made to the enrollment figures, and ensure an auditor can arrive at the same figure that LEA reports by carefully detailing the changes numerically. Keep complete records as to why students were removed, added to the enrollment numbers with official records as documentation. Keep all documents which support the enrollment figures reported as per your LEA's record retention schedule. TEA does request this documentation from LEAs on a random basis. That concludes our presentation on reporting and documenting campus enrollment figures. Should you have any questions about this information, please feel free to email or call us. One of our team members will be happy to assist. These materials are copyrighted and trademarked as the property of the Texas Education Agency and may not be reproduced without the express written permission of TEA, except under the following conditions listed in this slide. For further information, please contact us at the email below.